Wow, it looks like it is working. Okay. This is my first time going on a live or doing a live, but I just wanted to come on and share really quick this very interesting excerpt that I came across. And it's from a book titled Circle of Snakes. The website that I found this book on is called beforeitsnews.com. And this particular article is titled How to End Your Gangstalking. Let's see if there's a way to set that up in here. Yeah, I'm still new to doing all of this here on the live, so I'm not sure how to set up the title and all that. I'll just work. I'll do it. I'll deal with it later. But anyways, I pretty much ran out of memory on my phone, so that's why I'm just doing this live. But I had to get this article out to the TI community, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. I'll put the link and all that in the description. How to End Your Gang Stalking, from the book Circle of Snakes. Government gang stalking is an attack on innocent U.S. citizens by traitors to the United States and the Constitution. If you are a targeted individual, you are in a battle for your right to live freely and free from tyranny. Now, this article may sound anarchistic, but realistically, it's observational truth-telling. This article will give the average TI a basic common sense outline for dealing with gang stalking. Before you get started, you might want to read my newest edition, Killer Waves, Death Rays, and Psychotronic Influence, from my new book, Circle of Snakes, How to End Your Gang Stalking. The best advice I can give anyone being gang stalked, I'm probably too late in giving. But that's why this evil manifestation is set up. If you know you're being gang stalked, my advice is to do nothing. This works best if you've figured out if from the onset because it leaves you in the best end position. Knowledge is power, and being aware early on affords you the luxury of lucidity. This is your opportunity to secretly and strategically gather information. If you figured it out late, then start using this advice now. You see, the way they operate is by you doing their job for them through your reactions. So your goal is to turn it around by not being predictable and not making it easy for them. Normally, your reactions are made to appear as psychological problems. You start to tell people or seek help from legal or mental health professionals. Once you seek help or start filing complaints, you've already begun documenting your own mental illness for them. This can later be used in any event to portray you as schizophrenic, a hypochondriac, or troublemaker. Filing a complaint properly is, of course, the end game, but filing repeatedly is counterproductive. If you do things right, they won't know they messed up until you file. Their goal is to covertly destroy you while making your daily life miserable. Being aware of this, you can often thwart them with countermeasures, causing them small routine failures. They'll start making mistakes because their intention is for you to be helpless. However, in many cases, they use average, poorly, or untrained citizen collaborators. This weak link can and should be exploited. So be sharp and ready to improvise on the fly. Be aware that everyone involved with the justice system knows this is going on, but the vast majority will never acknowledge it. One of the problems with people who aren't involved is that there's nothing they can do. It is beyond the jurisdiction of any police that aren't in on it. These are powerful forces at work, and every cop wants to retire one day. This, though, can be used to your advantage. No one wants to be involved too deeply when things go wrong. If you can instill enough doubt by causing problems for them, it can wreak havoc with those less committed or less involved. Demons and their minions enjoy attacking helpless prey, so don't be that. The NCVC, National Center for Victims of Crime, in New York City, collect statistics on organized stalking. They receive thousands of complaints about it per month, which represents 10% of the total complaints they get. So it is significant. Police departments around the country also receive thousands of complaints. Take the case of Aaron Alexis, who is now infamous as the Navy Yard shooter. On September 16, 2013, a well-armed Alexis allegedly made his way onto a base in Washington, D.C., where he worked for a subcontractor as a computer technician and killed 12 people. Prior to this, however, on August 7, 2013, he filed a complaint with the Newport, Rhode Island police alleging that he was a victim of government gang stalking and ELF wave weapons. Anyone who is familiar with these types of weapons and cases give these claims credence. But does this seem like a necessarily satisfactory conclusion? So then what can be done, if anything? First, your goal should be to end it without a dark cloud looming. Now, I know that there are many of you trying to battle the symptoms of the attacks using remedies, devices, and gadgets. This article won't help you with that, since it is really for those TIs sincerely looking for a final solution. To do this, you must have a well thought out systematic plan. First, assuming it is the government, and in my case, it was based on observations, deductions, and thorough research. Then we know they'll be using military-based tactics. This doesn't mean it's the military. It could be DHS or any number of covert government entities which are all in collusion. These are just standardized tactics anyway, which are the most finely honed. This means that they'll have access to some sophisticated technology. Because of this, you'll have to assume that there isn't anything you can do that can't be monitored. Your phone use, computer, and the TV channels you watch, your mail, purchases, what you throw in your trash, everything you do at home, office, vehicle, anywhere, and walls or locks are not obstacles. So gain some knowledge. Study up. But remember, at the library, they will know what you are reading through the computer. Timestamps, IP addresses, and even your own computer's or laptop IP address, request, and ID will give you away anywhere you are. The point here is not to underestimate them. Assume you can keep no secrets aside from those in your head. Don't assume, however, that they can't be beat. The best laid plans in the world are often foiled. So, even with the most sophisticated technology, wars are lost. If you are a target, you have been declared an enemy or a test subject by your government without a hearing. You must know that you can't outthink them and you can't outspend them. These government projects have bottomless pockets, technology, and some of the world's smartest support personnel. Your mission then is to be proactive in defending yourself. You do this by compiling data, and in order to be effective, you must stay focused. This means not letting down your guard for 1 second. You must always remain in character as the simple minded, easy target. In other words, don't let on. Now, how do you go about collecting information while at the same time separating reality from fiction? By this, I mean reality from delusion. TIs can get so hung up on being targets, we forget that not everyone we meet is part of this conspiracy. It won't really matter anyway if you are not going about a law abiding life. It's not going to give anyone much ammunition. Even if you have personal illegal habits, like a drug problem, it won't justify anything they do, unless they are doing the same thing to everyone in the US with a drug problem. Then you are still being unlawfully targeted. You have nothing major to hide while they do so. They have something to lose. As a TI, I often find myself in suspicious situations that I would just roll with. Then later on, I'd ask around non-suggestively so as not to appear as though I was fishing. Working things into normal conversations, I would see if others had similar experiences. After realizing that I was often the only one going through these things, I noted details. One mistake we often make is believing that seemingly odd experiences often only happen to us. They don't, so be sure. Let me give you an obvious example. I was getting pulled over constantly, 5 times in my own driveway and 2 times in front of my house, dozens of times in different towns, states, etc. So it's easy to conclude that this wasn't normal. I almost never got ticketed, leading me to believe that the stops weren't documented. Ask anyone, how many times do you get pulled over in a year? The average answer is none. The amount of times and locations means that it was being coordinated non-locally. Clues like this can speak volumes. That's an easy example of it only happening to you. But strange phone calls, street theater, hit and run, dings with your car, strangers always glaring at you, these things seem normal enough, but when they occur abnormally frequent, it is not typical. I'm going to add in there my own personal account. This is not in the book, but I was getting personally a lot of flat tires by way of nail. It has stopped now, but I was getting that for a while. I'm going to continue the book now. These are all bits of information that accumulatively start to paint a picture straight out of Colonel Michael Aquino's military paper Mind War. Let me also add my own personal thing. Michael Aquino is a filthy, disgusting, scummy dirtbag. He did some horrible thing to children. He never got convicted. Let me continue the book. They must be convincingly combined to be easily accepted as a whole of proofs if they're to be presented as evidence. Again, be proactive, not reactive. Take photos where you can, jot down license plates along with times, locations, observations, notes, anything, and never be obvious about it. You want proof, not just your word, so be cool about it. Don't hold up your phone like you're taking pictures because they'll alter their tactics. Pretend you're talking or punching in a number and no one will know. This is the way you have to go about everything. Also, things like street theater are hard to prove, so be selective. Don't give yourself away by buying strange monitoring gear like wave meters. The fact is that if you are being targeted and attacked by EMF waves, you need to end it, not monitor it, so save your money. If, on the other hand, you need professional help to build a case, then hire a professional. There are exceptions, but in most cases, a fool is his own lawyer or expert witness. Just as important, you must know how, where, and when to file a complaint and what to include. I filed my very first and only complaint with the DOJ, Department of Justice, in Washington, D.C., which brought an end to my stalking. If you choose my route, it's important to understand you will be the first to be investigated. Be sure you have clean hands. I did this because I was able to catch on almost immediately that it was government targeting. Not because I'm smarter than anyone else, but because I don't trust anyone. I don't confide personal goings on with anyone because I don't let people get too close. I'm always suspicious and I don't need a best friend to share personal stories with. I also don't create problems for myself by confronting people or making frivolous complaints to police. I methodically evaluate situations, and that's how I was able to figure things out early on because I almost never dropped my guard to anyone. So I just kept everything quiet and started collecting evidence, like dates, times, suspected incidents, etc. When I first began to weigh my options, I also knew that I was outmatched. How could I go up against the government gang stalkers and all the resources they have available? I knew they could be beat, but knew that I couldn't do it. I knew the area police agencies were involved too, and you can't fight the law. So who can? Then it hit me. The law can fight the law. The trick is finding someone with integrity to care. So, do you complain to internal affairs of the police department or go above their heads to the chief, the district attorney, the mayor? Maybe you think state police or the FBI. I thought of all these things, but where I live in Connecticut, it's not that simple. We have the statewide narcotics task force where they all work together. This got me thinking that they were all too close and maybe even go out for drinks or cookouts. Their loyalties may be compromised. I had to file my complaint outside the area and it had to be documented. Remember, someone with no ties to the area will look out for themselves. If it's documented that you contacted them and they failed to act when everything goes wrong, it's their neck. Okay, so far we know what the results will be if you do nothing, and complaining to the wrong people can escalate your troubles. You want to file a complaint where you know it will be documented. You want it on a federal level so there is no confusion that you mean business. You don't want it tainted or surrounded by domestic, psychological histories, or other issues. So, you've been to psychiatrist. You have prescribed medication. You went to the local police 7 times and so on. This lashing out without knowing the source of your stalking never turns out well and is not a good strategy. If you want your complaint to be taken seriously, you must be taken seriously. Now, your complaint must be concise, professional, and written intelligently, which is not the same as well written. When I filed with the DOJ, the form asked for simple details and a brief description of my complaint. File using any provided forms and don't attach or mail unsolicited materials. Don't send anything unless you are contacted and asked to. Even when you do submit evidence, don't send incoherent ramblings, piles of notes, sketches, pictures, etc. Send exactly what they require, and the rest available upon request. If everything is kept professional, that's the way you should expect to be treated. If you don't know how to go or how to do things professionally, then get help. Although this article is supposed to offer solutions, I can't take into account every scenario or even everything that happened to me. The intensity and extent of the abuse will depend on who you are and why it's happening. Are you a whistleblower, a journalist, writer, someone with inside information, test subject, random? So, some things to look out for are oddly running into old acquaintances. People you meet and situations that may seem random are often not by chance. Friends of friends, strange coincidences, etc. Don't let people know what you're up to or the inner workings of your mind. Remember, only allow people to see what you want them to. Think of everything you do as feeding information or creating a story. Now, I don't expect that many of you can naturally act out these roles. However, these are extraordinary circumstances and may require extraordinary measures. You are a citizen being subjected to military tactics as a civilian by your government. Have you had military or counterintelligence training? Of course, if you have nothing to hide, then try to just be yourself. But how is an innocent target supposed to react to constant attacks? If I told you everything that has happened to me, it goes far beyond the classic gangstalking stuff into the realm of unbelievable. Some of it in earlier parts of this series on gangstalking, some more in depth in my book, and some I have never told anyone. As with anything, just be smart about it. If you think you've experienced everything that gangstalking has to offer, I can assure you that I've experienced more than most of you and then some. Okay, so does that mean there's no hope if you did everything wrong? I have done enough research to know that most of you did, but mostly because we are all normal humans. When we get harassed, we call the police. We think we're going crazy, we call mental health people. Even when we put it together, we are too naive or gullible. We look for people to confide in who may actually be in on it. We bought into reporting bad cops to internal affairs. We believe we can tell all our problems to friends we meet and so on. Predictability is exactly what this system is built on. Wars are fought and won based on being able to anticipate your enemy's next move. Manipulating them to make that move is part of the art of war. If you did do something wrong, you may still be able to do something to end it by starting now. You still may be able to recall or document enough incidents that have happened where you may be able to prove something's been going on. In many cases, these stalkers don't cover their tracks well because there is no need. The system is based on people being clueless, easy targets. Okay, we could go on forever with scenario after scenario, but everything comes to an end. This, after all, is only a guide, and everyone may not get the same results. If you have some questions, most can be answered by reading this entire 5-part series on this site. You can also get much more detail by reading the book Circle of Snakes. See below. There are also 2 complementary articles as well: Why the New World Order Will Fail, and Uncovered Photo Evidence of Global Mind Control Experiment. People have said to me, "Aren't you afraid about speaking out?" It's too late for me because I already put a lot of my story into a book. Plus, I haven't stopped writing about these evil, traitorous people. So be visible and be more trouble for them than it's worth. Sign petitions, write to your congressperson, write an article, a book, join groups, protests. But whatever you do, don't be silent and don't lie down. Fight back, but do it smart. Keep this conversation going and stay visible and help others by spreading the word. Wow, that was a lot longer than I expected. I'm looking here now, 26 minutes that it took to read that article. That was just crazy. Um, I don't really have much else to say, guys. I don't really even know who's in here, who's listening, or what. I'm just gonna just reflect on this article really quick, though. I think it's very informative to a degree, in as far as like exposing who's involved. But I believe you need to get onto this website or you need to get this book in order to start taking more affirmative action towards your targeting. I am going to buy this book. I'm going to buy the book and definitely read it because, I mean, it sounds pretty genuine. And this website has a lot of thorough information. Again, I'm going to post everything into the description, and I'll have all the information in there for y'all to look up for yourselves. But if y'all were in here for the live, thank you for, hanging in there with me. I know I was just reading from the book. I shared a little bit about some of what I went through, but I just really wanted to just get this article out there more than anything. But thanks for hanging around, guys. Y'all take care.